let's see if we can get some answers from Dr. Raywat Deonandan. He's an epidemiologist and science communicator at the University of Ottawa. Welcome back to the show, Doctor.
Thank you so much.
Your reaction to the announcement today that garden centers, nurseries, hardware stores will be opening back up?
Well, it's good news, right? And some things have to start opening up. I think we're at a low enough caseload where that is the right thing to do. And those seem like safe options to start with.
Okay. And what about retail stores? These are non-essential stores that will be allowed to start offering curbside pickup. Do you have any concern around that?
No, curbside pickup is a great idea. The concern becomes when people are crowding into the stores themselves, right? So the longer we can avoid that scenario, the better, but people need to have jobs and these stores need to open. So this is a great way to sort of keep the economy a little bit going on while at the same time reducing the possibility of spread. So I think curbside pickup should be the norm for a lot of businesses as long as we can. And if we can open up more businesses and allow that as an option, I'm all for it.
I think as long as we don't have people that are crowding in the lineups, as long as you have stickers on the pavement or paint on the pavement, otherwise you might have people that are lining up for things non-essential like, let's say electronics, video games, shoes, new clothing, and they don't actually need to be there and they're standing too close together.
That's right. And unfortunately, a lot of our retail model, how we make money in this era is based on people buying things they don't really need. So unfortunately, that's going to take a hit. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
Okay, so I got a couple questions for you here that I posed to the minister, and you're not a politician, so maybe you can tell us just your thought and understanding that you don't actually have a crystal ball. No one's going to hold you to this. Do you have a sense of when you think they're going to be able to open up restaurants in Ontario?
I sort of do, and I base it on a couple of the statistics that we're watching. My favorite one is the test positive rate. That's the number of tests that we do that come back positive. Right now in Ontario, that's about 5.4%, I think. And the WHO says if it's under 10%, it means you're testing enough. My feeling is if we can get that number down to 1%, then it's safe to start opening up a lot more things. So a few more days, maybe weeks, when that number comes down substantially. What that number tells us is as we are continuing to test more and more people, if a smaller and smaller portion come back positive, it means we're probably getting the majority of cases. That means we've probably got the epidemic mostly under control. So if I had to guess a number of weeks, I think June is probably when we can start thinking about that kind of stuff. So if we can handle another month of just handling roadside pickup of our groceries and cooking at home, then that would be the ideal.
And what about interprovincial travel this summer? I know the Premier of New Brunswick had been quoted as saying that he was going to try and keep the borders shut this summer because they've been actually doing relatively well compared to the rest of Canada, and they don't want people bringing the virus in. Do you think, from your perspective, that it would be safe to allow for people to move freely between the provinces?
No, I do not. And I know that's not an economically good thing to hear. And there are other moving parts of this analysis, the economics, the mental health.
No, but medically speaking, that's what we're interested in here.
Epidemiologically speaking, if we can get the epidemic under control where we live, whether that's our city or our province, then why do we want to mess that up by introducing possible new infections from elsewhere? So places like New Brunswick are ideal, sort of, because they've got a really low caseload right now, and they've somehow managed to control travel from 4 different borders. PEI is even more ideal. They've got essentially one bridge they can control. Ontario is tough because we have long borders with at least 3 other provinces. And especially the Quebec border will be a tough one to manage, especially given that they have approached this disease differently from us. So if I could magically seal us into the province and just have us manage our outbreak ourselves without worrying about incoming infections from elsewhere, that would be what I want. Yeah. So no.
What about the combining bubble approach? So, for example, I live in a house. I'm here with my partner Drake and our dog, and then there's some friends that we have, and they're in their little bubble. Let's say it's them and their child, and both of us have been in isolation. We're COVID-free as far as we can tell. Is that a fair approach where you can take 2 clean people from one household and then combine them with another household, and they can be buddy households?
100%. In fact, I've been advising some people to do this even before the announcement of the bubble concept. And we're already seeing it informally with divorced couples and the sharing of childcare. So if you have faith that the other family is as diligent as you are with respecting hygiene and infection control, why not? In fact, as the economy opens up more and people go back to work a little bit more, childcare is going to be a bigger and bigger problem. So if you can make arrangements with another safe family that shares your same vision of what safe living is, to share the childcare opportunities, then this is a problem that solves itself. I know New Zealand is big on this, and it's working well for them as well. So we can expand the bubble size as the success opens up. But to quote the Prime Minister of New Zealand, we're opening up the economy, but we're not opening up people's social lives. So that has to be a more careful process. And doesn't have to be directly correlated with the rate of opening up the economy. But to answer your question, yeah, the bubble thing is a great idea. And the more we can expand our social interactions safely, the happier, wealthier, and safer we'll all be.
Mm-hmm. The only thing there, Doctor, and I'll have to let you go, but the only thing is that it does involve a lot of trust, right?
Yes.
It's you're creating a so-called monogamous relationship, just like dating. You're trusting that the other person isn't seeing anyone else, and they could be lying.
Maybe they need some dating sites for bubbles.
A bubble dating site. I love it. All right, Dr. Deonandan, thank you for coming back on the show.
Thank you.